Salute, 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 everybody. Welcome to Miss Parker, with me and Miss Leah Ficklin. I want everybody to welcome Miss Ficklin to the show. She's been doing a lot of coverage on Kendrick Johnson. Kendrick Johnson was 17 years old. He went to Lowndes High School in Georgia, and he was found rolled up in a mat in the school. And the school, they're basically trying to hide it and call it an accidental death when we know that's not the case. Because Leah, who can roll themselves up if they're
Hmm.
deceased? you
Right.
know so you've been doing a lot of coverage on Facebook, a lot of coverage, significant coverage, trying to help this family get the answers that they need in closure. And I appreciate you. I'm gonna get my shout outs out, and we're gonna get into it.
Mhm.
Hey TT, hey Shank, salute, salute Dell, salute TT, and Goddess Sherma. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship research, and this video is also going to be for educational purposes because we need to be made aware of what's going on in our communities and stuff. Hey, K Queen, thank you for grabbing your membership. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Hey, Barbie girl. Hey, Samad. Hey, Tom Warp. Leah,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with covering the Kendrick Johnson case.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Leah, but my YouTube channel was Kicking It with Auntie Leah. How I got started with the Kendrick Johnson case was I was covering, you know, mysterious deaths about activists. I was focusing on the Ferguson activist. Most recent was Danye Jones and Darren Seals. And one of my other friends on Facebook, Mallory Thornton, made a post about Kendrick Johnson. I knew about Kendrick Johnson, but I felt like the case was like too big for, me to really talk about. But when she made the status of basically stating if anybody's story needs and deserves to still be talked about, it will be Kendrick Johnson. So I'm like, well, yeah. So I started digging into really who he was. Back 13 years ago, you heard about Kendrick Johnson, but not to the extreme where it was massive news. So like when Mike Brown was shot by Darren Wilson, the officer in Ferguson, it was just the whole world exploded. Black Lives Matter. We're out there, picketing and doing all these things and protesting, but there was no explosion within the media when it came to Kendrick Johnson. His story was actually quite suppressed. Only CNN was basically covering it. They were doing their best to not allow a lot of the African American community to really understand the gist of what really happened to Kendrick Johnson. So they basically did whatever they had to do so that they can continue on with the alleged cover up of his death. So I began to dig into it and I began to post, and then I start getting paperwork. So when I started getting paperwork from a source, I began to dig into the paperwork, and and just found all type of lies and discrepancies. So basically, I was determined after that to just expose it, and that's what I've been doing since.
Leah, why do you think that of all the cases, like you were talking about the Michael Brown case, all these other cases, what was so detrimental that you think that they wanted to hush everybody up about what happened and what really happened to Kendrick?
I'm glad you asked. Well, the alleged perpetrators that basically unalived, in my opinion, and let me say this: everything that I say is my opinion. Okay, based off the evidence that I reviewed, is my opinion. I do not, and everybody I talk about are innocent until proven guilty. Okay, and nothing has been proven in a court of law. So I can tell you this: there were two brothers at Lowndes High School when Kendrick Johnson, was alive. And the younger brother Brian Bell and Kendrick, they both were on the football team. and the basketball team. Well, Kendrick Johnson was very good. He's a very good athletic. He was very good, but in basketball, football, ran track. Brian Bell was Caucasian, and I'm not going to make it about race because really that's not really what it is about. But Brian Bell basically became, in my opinion, jealous of Kendrick because Kendrick was a nice looking young man, number one. And number two, he was very good at what he did. And he got a lot of the attention when it came to playing the sports that he played. Well, Brian Bell is the son of an FBI agent. Okay. So because his sons were involved, and this is alleged, in the unaliving of Kendrick Johnson, and their father is an FBI agent who was also very best friends with the sheriff of Lowndes County, Mr. Chris Prime.
Mm,
And so this FBI agent was the type that I believe that raised his children to be the best. Basically, he was the type of father that was on top of them. You can't let nobody beat you. You better be the best. Blah blah blah. Okay, so about a year prior to Kendrick being unalived, Brian Bell and Kendrick Johnson got into a fight on the school bus on the way to a tournament or a game to play football. And it is rumored, and I do believe it, that Kendrick Johnson got the best of Brian Bell. So that,
mm,
yes, yes. So that started um actually the father is what pulled and it's alleged fire on this because he's like one of those fathers like nobody can beat my children, nobody can beat my son. And I remember even seeing on a documentary where Mr. Johnson said that Kendrick told him that after that fight that Rick Bell, which is the FBI agent, the father of Brandon and Brian Bell, told Kendrick, you think that you got away with doing what you did to Brian this time? Why don't you come to my house and fight him? We're not going to your house.
wow.
Right. So that type of attitude went on. And based off sources that I have that were students there, they said that Brian Bell was the type that never let go of a grudge, no matter what. So ever since that
Hmm.
fight, he was bullying Kendrick, trying to make people do things to him and things like that. So that's what happened. So go ahead.
Let's get a little bit into Taylor. I
Hmm.
read a post about
Hmm.
Kendrick allegedly messing with Taylor at some point, and that really triggered Brian because Taylor messed with Brian and things like that. Have you been made aware of Taylor and Kendrick having a relationship and that getting the best of Brian as
I'm,
well?
I honestly that rumor, that's what it is, has never been founded in facts. So I'm not able to really to say that's who it was and what it was definitively. But that is a rumor
Mhm.
amongst the kids in the school. And we were in high school
Wow.
before. And normally, let's just be realistic. If you hear a rumor, there's some truth, to it.
Truth in
You
it.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah. And like I said,
Hmm.
Kendrick was handsome. And he was athletic and the girls liked him and he was popular and that could have very well been a reason. But I cannot state that as
Hmm.
facts.
Yeah. I want to get into this because this was a big part of it. So I sent you some questions. I asked you
Mhm.
about the organs of Kendrick Johnson, and
Okay.
when I kind of Googled it, I also heard that it was that they said his body was stuffed with newspapers. Can you elaborate on any of that?
I can. Because I seen the evidence. I have the autopsy, I have the autopsy photos. I mean, I have all the autopsies, the records, the depositions. I have that information. One thing I think that is very important for me to debunk is the fact that they took his organs for under the guise of harvesting them. That's not what happened, guys. At the time of the first
Okay.
autopsy, Kendrick Johnson had his organs. I see them in his body. And unfortunately, I have to look at it every day because I'm hell bent on solving this thing. But what happened is that they had to take his organs because his organs showed trauma. Okay. There's blunt force trauma to his body, right? So they took the organs after the initial autopsy. The medical examiner, Dr. Marianne Gaffney Craft, is the one who performed the autopsy. And I'm just going to say this, it's alleged, but I'm going to say it boldly. She is a part of the cover up. Her assignment was to destroy the organs. Why? Because the organs will hide true cause of death, right? And time of death. And if they wanted the world to believe that Kendrick died of this accident that was impossible, they could not allow the organs to be there. So what happened was she told the world that, oh, yes, I took his organs out, which is normal doing an autopsy. They have to weigh them and examine them. Mind you, there's no pictures of these organs. Why? Because these organs probably show the damage that was really done, internal damage to his organs. So I don't have any photos of them. But anyway, when the Johnsons found out, she was like, "Well, yeah, I took him out, but I put him in a plastic bag and put him back in the chest cavity, which is normal, guys, and put the chest, plate back over him, and she released the body to the funeral home. So she washed her hands so somebody else can get accused of it. So she did a sworn deposition, stating this, not knowing that excuse me, she didn't give the memo to the other two death investigators that were in the room with her at the time that she did the autopsy for Kendrick Johnson, because one of them actually told the coroner, Bill Watson, that, well, no, 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 disposed of the organs due to advanced composition. So Dr. Marianne Gaffney Craft lied under sworn testimony and said that she put the organs back into his body and released the body, while the death investigator that was in the autopsy room taking the photos told the coroner that no, that's not what happened. We disposed of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah.
So they was
So
really disposed of. She put it out that they're in his chest cavity, but the death investigator's like, no, she
right.
disposed of his organs.
Right, due to
Wow.
advanced decomposition. Right. And then what happened was, and what really gets me is that when the funeral home got Kendrick's body, they knew that the organs were not there. They are the ones who stuffed his body with newspaper and buried him. What they didn't do, Heritage Funeral Home, I said what I said, is that you failed to notify the parents of Kendrick Johnson that the organs were not with the body. You just buried them.
Wow.
So they did not know that they were not burying all of Kendrick. They did not know until they exhumed his body to have Dr. Bill Anderson complete the second autopsy. That's when they found
Autopsy.
out
Oh.
there's no organs. He's stuffed with newspaper articles, basically.
Was this a black funeral home that done
Y-
this?
Yes.
Oh wow.
That's why I said it. I don't think that this is about race. It's not.
So the parents went on to say that it was bruising on his chin and it wasn't mentioned in the initial report.
The initial
Why
report.
wasn't these bruises and stuff? What was in the initial report? What, like we see, I seen it on your page. I seen some of the pictures. I would
Mhm,
never post them or show them over here because they're pretty gruesome.
they are.
Um, gosh, Kendrick, gosh. And it's crazy that when y'all go on her page, Leah Ficklin's Facebook page, if y'all can find her on Facebook, one of the mods, her name is in the title. Y'all can find her Facebook and put it on her. And also I'll put her YouTube channel in the chat in just a second. But nobody heard this. All of this that happened to him, all this bruising,
Hmm.
all of this, he
Hmm.
had to scream. He had to holler. Kendrick
Hmm.
had to make a lot of noise based off
Hmm.
those pictures. Let's get into Aaliyah.
Hmm.
Nobody heard this.
Well, another lie that they told. This is why I'm saying that this is not race, because I'm going to say this boldly. Both races, both of us were involved. Both races. were involved in the cover
Wow.
up and what happened to Kendrick. They told the world that, oh, it was an accident. Kendrick entered the gym alone. But I posted a video where you'll see one Caucasian kid walk with three black kids. Well, yeah, he was with was it two? It was two at first. And it was a white kid with a red shirt. They seen Kendrick come down the hallway. And you can tell by their body language, they turned around and told the guy, hey, here he comes, here he comes. And you'll see a pass off between the black kids and the white kids. I don't know what they passed to him. It could have been a weapon. It could have been money. It's too blurry in the surveillance footage, but you can pull that up. I do have that video. It's on my YouTube, I believe. I'm not sure. But if you slow it down, you will see all of this. So Kendrick walks, and he keeps walking. He's going towards the gym, and you can tell that the white kid said something to Kendrick, and the black kid said something to Kendrick. But body language with Kendrick is more like, I don't mess with you. And he kept walking. Well, directly after, when Kendrick, right before he walked into the gym, the white kid that the other two black kids passed, whatever they passed to him in, Kendrick walked right behind the white kid, and then you will see the black children go over to the bathroom and beckon another black child to come out of the bathroom who has striped shirts, and then they all follow Kendrick in the gym. So that's why I say both races are complicit. They want you to believe he's in there alone. That's what the autopsy is based off of. That's what she said in her sworn affidavit when we're looking at the video footage showing, ma'am, no, it's not. It's kids in the gym. There's kids playing
Mm-hmm.
basketball in the gym. There's witnesses in the gym. So that's a lie. He was not in there alone. There's
Mm-hmm.
witnesses and they've been
Um.
silenced.
Wow. This is creepy. It's kind of cringy. Um. It was another video on your Facebook page, and it looked like they was in the cafeteria
Bullying,
where
yes.
Brian went and bumped Kendrick. But it looked like somebody passed Brian something then
He
in the
did.
cafeteria, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
And
I
he
slowed it
wasn't
down.
near Kendrick at all. Yeah, he was
Right.
nowhere near Kendrick, but he found his way over there
Mm-hmm.
to
On
bump
purpose.
Kendrick. And I
Mm.
seen people in your comment section asking you, do you think he injected him with something at that moment? Because it was a little off to see
Right.
him come from over there in Kendrick's spot here
Hmm.
and bump Kendrick. Cameras in here. It's all kind of surveillance. So
Right.
I'm confused on,
Right.
the school not having surveillance and things like that. So did you ever hear anything about that particular incident? Is
Yes.
that the same day that happened to him?
It is the same day. It was at lunch.
Wow.
Yes. So in this video, I had to slow it down to find this, right? You will see a kid bend over and he's by two girls, and Kendrick is behind those girls and that Caucasian kid. He grabs something out of his shoe. Brian Bell, who also has stated that he didn't see Kendrick that day, liar, um, walks up to this kid and he passes something to Brian Bell. Brian Bell walks off to like play it off while he kind of tucks the item away, circles back, and then comes up behind Kendrick and pushes him. And then he goes to the back of the cafeteria to speak with another child. So he pushed him. He didn't inject him with anything. I don't think that he would do that when it's a lunch room full of kids. But what he did was pushed him. Yes,
Okay. Shay G said they said there was blood found that wasn't Kendrick's.
it was. It was blood found on the wall. They said it was old blood. Here's the thing. They tested it and said it wasn't Kendrick's. But they refused to put the blood in CODIS, and they refused to research the blood farther. So basically, they essentially said it doesn't belong to Kendrick, and we're not trying to find out who it is. Who does that in a murder
Wow.
investigation? Yep. So nothing else
You
became of
can.
that blood.
So I heard you talk about the position of the body
Hmm.
and how it looked like maybe somebody did some like moved him or something? Like, what did you mean about the position of his body? If we can get into that.
Okay, so to be able to explain that really, you'll have to look at the mat, the blood pattern on the mat, and look at his clothing and things like that. I can tell you this is that Kendrick did not enter based off his clothing. First of all, hit the whole of the mat was like 14 inches. Kendrick's shoulder width are anywhere from 16 to 19 inches wide. He can't fall into that mat. Okay, he would have to wedge himself down the mat, and nobody's gonna do it. We don't go into well, we in our culture, we're not taught, we were not raised to be that adventurous and go into dangerous situations willingly. So he's not going to
Right.
willingly eye a mat and know he can't fit down there and wedge his way head first down a mat. That's just not going to happen. We don't do that. He would push the mat over if the mat was really, I mean, the shoe was really in the mat, and grab his shoes from under, right? That's the logical thing. So when it comes to his body, if you look at the blood pattern that is on the mat that he was found in, if he was upside down vertical in that mat and there's blood pouring from pulling, from the nose and the mouth, from pulling because he's upside down, which is what he wants the world to believe, don't you think that the mat would be saturated all the way around? It'll be a full moon of blood around the mat.
Yeah.
This mat
Yeah.
wasn't. And if that part was touching the ground when they allegedly lifted the mat over with the blood, wouldn't it be blood rings on the floor? Hmm. None.
Absolutely.
No contact rings of blood on the floor. But what you will see is a half moon of blood. This supports him being horizontal in the mat, bleeding sideways, not vertical, if that makes sense. So he was
Right.
never fully in the mat, never fully engulfed in the mat because this part could not fit in the mat. So what they did, and I'm going to say this because this is based off evidence, is they stuffed him in the mat feet first as far as they can get him, took another mat to conceal his body, basically. That's what
Mm.
happened until they were able to come back and clean up the scene and stage the mat
Wow.
accident that didn't
Were
exist.
were all the injuries that Kendrick sustained, was any of the injuries fully explained?
No, because Dr. Marianne Gaffney Craft was a part of the cover up. She deliberately eliminated every image of injury there. Clearly, there was blunt force trauma to the right side of his face. I showed that. There's blunt force trauma to his neck, in his upper right chest. You can see the hemorrhaging on the autopsy photos. But she wrote there was no signs of
Okay.
trauma to the body, no injuries. Right? That's what she did.
Wow. Were
And
any of the
then,
test results ever disputed?
yes, the family
Go ahead.
disputed.
Say what you was gonna say.
Okay. She said that Kendrick Johnson passed away of positional asphyxia, but she based that off of not having any evidence. Normally, if you look it up, guys, if a person suffocates or dies of any type of asphyxia, their lungs will be heavy, they will be wet, they will basically be almost like triple the size of a normal lung. There was no edema in the lungs. Actually, Kendrick's lungs were underweight. So, based off that alone, it doesn't support positional asphyxia. The brain had no edema in it either. If you're upside down, if you guys ever hung upside down, you feel pressure in your head and stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that would make your brains swell. Brain was normal. Lungs were actually below, weight because they actually tried to speed up the decomposition on purpose.
Wow. Um, with the independent examiner's review, what was the findings?
Okay. So there were two autopsies done, and it was done by Dr. William R. Anderson, a pathologist out of Florida. So he opened the body. There was no no organs. Well, even Dr. Gaffney Craft testified that without the organs, you can't do a full autopsy. Yeah, because you knew that, and that's why you destroyed them. But anyway, they did not anticipate this doctor being so smart that he would actually cut. He would just cut. You know what I mean? Into
Mm-hmm.
the jaw area because he saw, some trauma there the first time. And when he cut into the jaw area, he found the injury, the internal bleeding, the hemorrhage. Basically, it was a vein that it was connected to basically your what is your carotid artery that's in your neck that if it severs, you just
Yeah.
bleed out. It was that one, and that ultimately is what unalive Kendrick. He died of blunt force trauma to the right side of the neck. Then a third autopsy. Go ahead.
What? No, go ahead. Go ahead, Miss Leah. Go ahead.
Okay. So imagine a mother and father having to bury their child 3 times. Well, they did another autopsy because they've been fighting ever since he went missing on January 10th. These parents have never been able to mourn, and they haven't mourned yet. It's always it's straight into fight mode, right? So they
Let's stay right there for a minute, Leah. Hold on before we move on. When you say missing, so they wasn't notified that Kendrick was in this man. There, it was like he just ran away or just vanished from the school and never came home.
Right. What happened was Miss John he didn't come home from school. Well, he had told his mom that he was going to go to a basketball game after school, right? So that she didn't think nothing of it. But he has a 10 o'clock p.m. curfew. So Kendrick didn't come home at 10 p.m. So that's when the missing panic set in. And then so she called her husband, asked him if has he heard from Kendrick. He said no. She waited a little bit longer to see if he'll walk towards, walk in the door. He never came home. So a little after 12 o'clock a.m., she called 911 and, said, hey, my son hasn't came home from school and filed the missing, person, report. And then she went up to the school that morning, first thing in the morning, and the detective came in the office to talk to her and all of that. And he wanted to grab a picture of Kendrick because she had reported him missing. But even doing that, right, that's when they allegedly found the body. I think it was the whole thing was staged. But anyway, they found the body, and that's how they found out he was dead. I can kind of
So
elaborate on it.
the day she went to the school, the day the mother went to the school to say, "Hey, Kendrick didn't come home,"
Hmm.
they found him that day.
Hmm. Yeah.
Who
And here's the
who
thing.
what made him go and look there?
I'm trying to tell you, it's a whole conspiracy. I done broke that down too. First of all, Kendrick was found in the old gym. There's a new gym that's built, and one of my sources say that they do not even one, multiple sources say that they did not hold any classes in the old gym whatsoever. There is a kid who came into my inbox on Facebook who said I was there that day when they found the body. So I asked him. I said, "Well, do you guys normally have your life, coach class there?" And he was like, no. I was like, well, because they normally have it in a new gym. That's what he said. I said, well, why you guys have a class there? He's like, I don't even know. They just all of a sudden told us that we were going to have our class at the last minute in the old gym. Okay. So they're in the old gym. And two sisters, according to the police incident report, who are the daughters of the superintendent of that high school, were climbing on the mats. First of all, who's going to allow students to climb on mats during class? And then their excuse is, oh, we were climbing on the mats, oh, to lay down. And we just looked down and we saw some socks and feet in the mat. So that's how they first discovered the body. So allegedly, they called another student over to say, "Hey, something's weird. If this is all an act, this is I swear to God, everybody that was involved were friends, very close friends with the Bells, all of them." Okay, so he said, "Oh, Coach, Peemaw, Peepaw, yeah, Peepaw. I can't. I'm really bad with names. Can you come over here? We found something in the mat." So the coach says he's climbed the mat. He didn't say he climbed the bleachers to get on the mats, which is what They did. He said he climbed the mat, reached the top, looked down, and saw the same thing. And students came over and they started to pull the mats down because he was trying to get Kendrick out of the mat. At that time, he didn't know what he was. But when the mat fell down, the body, slipped out, and they immediately smelled, the smell of decomposition. And then he told every student to leave. But that's not what my source said that was present that day. That's what he said.
What
That's
did
what
your
the
source say?
I said because in the interview documents, the detectives only interviewed 6 students in that coach, and mind you, these 6 students are very close to the Bell family. I asked him, I said, how many students were in the gym? Because I just find it odd that there's a class with a school of 3,000 people that only had 6 students in it. Okay. He's all about
Right.
20 or 30. I said 20 or 30, but they only interviewed 6. He said, well, that's because we were told that to leave the gym immediately prior to him pulling down the mats, even though the record says that kids helped him pull down the mats. The students, the eyewitness said, no, every student left. We had to leave the gym. So all of these discrepancies, all of these lies, right? So, and they put these 6 students in one classroom together. You don't do that for an investigation, right? You separate witnesses. You don't put them together.
Absolutely.
But they had to get their
Absolutely.
story the same. So they
Yeah.
only interviewed the 6 that were part of this fiasco. I said what I said. I call it the discovery of the body. It's just fake. It's just fake. So they all basically said the same thing, and then they excluded all the rest of the children. But what caught me was is that
Mm.
student said, no, we didn't see Kendrick because they didn't pull down any mats, even though the coach said he did. So
Wow. Leah,
nobody
do you
saw.
think with that, do you think that it was already set up, like it was the play was already set up for Brian to do this to Kendrick prior to that day, like it was already set in stone for this to happen and take place in the old gym? Because like you said, they had a new gym, and
Mhm.
to bring the kids in there to make it look like we, if it did happen, we can put it on anybody. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Versus, and
Mhm.
why are we in the old gym versus the new gym out of nowhere?
Right. Yes, I do. Because here's the thing. Kendrick has my best friend and slash cousin, very close. Ironically, the day before, and they're always together, he got into some fight that he didn't start, right, in the cafeteria. I think it was a food fight. I'm not 100% sure. So he got suspended. So he wasn't there with Kendrick. If he was there, they would have
Oh,
never touched. So it was the next
mm-hmm.
day that they set this up. And unfortunately, what I see is our children and involved in the setup as well. So that's why the cover up is so tight and the community is so quiet because both races have people involved.
Wow.
I said what I
Did
said.
any of those students? Did any of those students that you feel like was divided and on the Bell side, has anybody ever reached out to you with a change of story?
Not yet, but that's what I'm pushing for because like I said, I slowed the video down. You can see these kids. You can see him beckon to this kid that's hiding in the bathroom. Why are you hiding from Kendrick when he walks by? What was
Mm-hmm.
that purpose? Okay. You got the white kid walks in first, and you three, like, let's go. And beckon the other black cow, I mean child out of the bathroom that was hiding. That doesn't make sense to me at all. So yes, it was
Mm-hmm.
it was planned. And it was planned on a day
Yeah.
that he didn't have his friend there.
Yeah, and it's just too coincidental that the friend gets suspended and wasn't even
Mm,
a part of anything. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So that's why I said it was like a play already set into motion for Kendrick. Can we get back to that third autopsy? What made the parents want to do a third? What did they not get from the second autopsy to where they said we have to get a third autopsy? Is we have
There
to look more into this?
what happened was is the state and the county dismissed their lawsuit against him. It's the civil lawsuit.
Mm,
And then not only that, they fined the parents $300,000 to pay. Yes. So yeah. So on top of them losing their child, on top of them covering up the murder, on top of them fighting, not being able to mourn, while they're trying to, seek justice, the judge turns around and hits him with a $300,000 penalty after he dismisses the lawsuit and wants them to pay the attorney fees of the defendants. So
wow.
yeah. So they, you know, we're gonna, get another autopsy because we know our child was murdered. There's no way Kendrick died in that mat like that. But it wasn't an accident. We see the trauma on his body. Everybody can see it, right? So they exhumed the body again. Imagine having to bury your child 3 times. That's all.
Mm,
I don't know. So the same doctor, Dr. William R. Anderson, knew there was no organs, but he elected to still, see if there's something else that he can find, trauma wise, on his body. And that's when he cut into the upper right chest of Kendrick. And there you see it hemorrhaging again, more hemorrhaging, internal bleeding. All the basic trauma, well, not, it wasn't basic, it was really trauma, was on the right side of his body that killed him. And that's when he said, listen, if this was not, positional asphyxia, there's no evidence to support that. There's trauma to him. He died from blunt force trauma. So that's what happened. And guess what? The complicit judges and law enforcement agency and the FBI, remember whose father was an FBI agent? The Bells.
bills.
Denied
And you
it.
said that the girls, the sisters, was their father was the superintendent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Correct.
Wow. So it's safe to say that evidence was lost, destroyed, and mishandled
They destroyed everything. And I think that you asked me what organs were
about
gone.
Bill.
How
Yeah,
about
what
all of them?
organs? Let's get to that.
Every
All
last
of
single
them.
one of them, down to the tongue,
Wow.
fingernails. The family never got his clothes back. Why? Because it had evidence on it. DNA. It had evidence. They destroyed fingernails, clothes, and the organs. And they want us to believe it was an accident. Why go to the extent to get rid of everything that can prove this homicide, right? But here's the thing with me. You may have thought that you got rid of everything, but the God that I serve is smarter than you. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something there. So go ahead.
Phew. This is deep. This is deeper than what I think. Do y'all think that the Bells did it? Like it was a lot more than just Brian?
It was more than Brian, at least three. Okay. The older brother, Brandon Bell. There is, and you guys can go to my page and you can see everything that I broke down. He would get intoxicated because, and his conscience was bothering him. So he would get intoxicated at parties and tell people openly that Brian
That's
Bell
what
unalived Kendrick Johnson. And one day he was using drugs with one of his friends down in Florida named Ryan Domek Hernandez. And because it was on his mind and he will always talk about it when he's inebriated, he confessed and told Ryan Domek Hernandez the whole story. He said him, Brian, and Ryan Hall were in the gym. Brian Bell and Kendrick began to argue over this girl. Brian Bell allegedly, according to the affidavit, was on steroids. He went into road rage and hit Kendrick on the side of the neck and face with a 45-pound weight plate or dumbbell. That's what he said. So instead of the police validating the sworn testimony, this was sworn. This was a deposition. Your Honor, yes, I understand under perjury law, right?
wow.
They harassed Ryan Domek Hernandez, locked him up, threatened him, and I'm not saying allegedly, and all of that, also he can recant. the statement. But here's the kicker: years later, there was this lady covering this this case named Ash to Ashes podcast, Ashley Patino, who was a paid opposition. Anyway, she said that he was lying. So he calls into the podcast and says, I'm not a liar. I didn't lie. And I'll tell you what, I'll come down there and take a lie detector test to prove to you that Brandon Bell told me these things. So she thought that he was going to lie. I mean, to pass. I mean, fail. Sorry, let me get it together. She just flat out knew that he was going to fail this polygraph test, but he didn't. He passed it.
Oh wow, so he did go and take a lie detector test.
He popped his collar and said, I'll come and take a test. And he went down there, took the test, passed it with flying colors, and guess what? Ash Patino abruptly stopped covering the case and never covered it again because it went against her narrative. She was one that was paid allegedly to steer the narrative, the accident narrative. But when
Hmm.
he passed the test, there was nowhere for her to go. So yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. And I
Wow.
actually found that well, I mean that weight in the gym. I have a picture of it. They threw a volleyball net and posed over it to try to conceal it, but and I can't even begin to tell you how the heck I found it, but God is good. But it's there and it has blood on it. Hmm.
Wow. So we got Ryan Hernandez had and what was he locked up for? What was his charges? I'm
You know,
curious to know. What was his charges? What did he do?
that part I cannot answer because I have not
Okay.
dug extensively, into his record yet. So, but he was locked up. I mean, we can look it up now if you want to, and I can tell you.
Yeah, look into that, Miss Leah, please, and see what Ryan was locked up for and what happened to his testimony. What
Oh, I have it. The court never threw it out or nothing. He just recanted because what they did to him. They
mm,
threatened him and everything. So he
okay.
it made him recant. But the court never said that it was fake or anything. But of course, they just dismissed that case.
Wow.
Right.
Because I did read in a post that wasn't yours. I
Mhm.
did read in a post that said that even Brian had told his dorm mate, it might have been Brandon, but one of those brothers had got drunk and told the roommate that once they got into college that they unalived Kendrick.
That's what I'm talking about. That incident.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's Ryan.
Hmm. Brandon Bell is the older brother of Brian Bell, which is the one who rendered the final blow. But they all were jumping him. They all were fighting him. Yep. And there were witnesses.
Mm.
I'm looking it up.
What obstacles are what obstacles did they face legally?
Oh, they lawyered up. They didn't face anything because they were the only students in school that retained a lawyer and refused to talk. They refused to
Mm.
talk about it at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
So none of the witnesses ever testified or anything.
No, no. I mean, and they still right now they have a case open that they're fighting. But everything's been shut down. Every attempt shut down and covered up.
Mm.
Like months later, they did open up a probe, and then the Department of Justice basically they opened up an investigation, and so did the Georgia Bureau of Investigations. In fact, during the not the DOJ, but the GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, they actually did raid the homes of several people. That included Taylor Eakin, the Bells, the Hall, and Ryan Hall's girlfriend, not Ryan Domek or Hernandez, but his girlfriend, Aaliyah Griffin. So they did go to their homes, the FBI, raid their homes, and confiscate all of the electronics. They did do that. So just think
Mhm.
about that, guys. If there is warrants issued by a judge, there must be evidence put before that judge to point towards them to be able to sign off on a warrant, right? So they did the raid, and
Mhm.
guess what? Never heard anything, about it after that. And the case was moved to Ohio and ultimately dismissed. So there was
Wow.
evidence, but that's what I'm saying. The cover up goes deep. In
Why
my
was the case
opinion,
moved to Ohio?
because they didn't want anything to do with it. They didn't want to tell the truth. Everybody, it was too many higher ups involved in this cover up. So they moved it to
But
Ohio.
Ohio's just as prejudiced.
Yeah, and guess who else went to Ohio? Because his scholarship
Was
was was revoked from Florida State, University of Florida. Brian Bell went to the University of Akron.
wow.
So that's
Mm.
kind of fishy to me. And I'll tell you the truth. I think that the raid was to grab all the evidence and destroy it, not to actually investigate what they got. 'Cause remember, the dad was an
Mhm.
FBI agent. The FBI investing in the
And it
FBI.
definitely says, yeah, and it definitely said the Georgia Bureau of Investigation ruled it, the death as an accident.
Yeah. But here's the thing: the Department of Justice. It went to the Department of Justice. They basically admitted to the Johnsons that we know that black shoe was planted. We know it's homicide, but there is not enough evidence for us to prosecute, and that was that.
What?
They has to destroyed all the evidence.
Where do we go? Do you think that when CNN was covering it, because you said CNN was the only people that covered it, which is so sad,
Really, it was
which is
very
so sad.
sad.
Do you think it harmed the case or do you think it helped it?
It didn't harm the case at all. They was just it's so many people that are high in the hierarchy. Like I said, FBI agents, sheriff of the whole, Lowndes County, all law enforcement, EMTs, coroners, medical, examiners. That is a huge operation of corruption, if that makes sense. So they know what happened, and they just refuse to do anything.
No, we're good. I'm sorry. I think it's me, my end. Wow. Wow.
It's sad.
Kendrick. And I seen something about about is it Valdosta or Valdosta?
Valdosta, Georgia.
Yeah. So did they ever have his case and they came back and try to say that they didn't? They ever
No,
touched it and didn't?
no. Here's the thing. Because the officials that are involved in this case are not going to investigate themselves, they're not going to do anything. They're going to stick to their, narrative of accident. We're trying to reach anybody that would listen to us. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. So even though they live in the, city of Valdosta, Kendrick went to school in Lowndes County. Well, that's the sheriff's jurisdiction. So no, Valdosta Police Department did not investigate. Lowndes County Sheriff Department did. So of course, I'm just trying to get anybody's attention. I'm like, oh, so you're just going to pass the buck. You see that all this evidence is there, and because it's not your jurisdiction, you're going to ignore it. So basically, that's
Mhm.
what that was. Yeah.
So how was the African American people when it came to all of this? Because you said it was black and white, so it's not a race thing. Um,
In my
Nobody
opinion,
spoke out. Nobody was boots on the ground for Kendrick or
it was it was a 1 to 100, ratio to what happened in Black Lives Matter, Mike Brown situation.
what?
Even till this day, it was only a small portion of the community. Many was more or less their family only that were with
Wow,
them. They've been
wow,
shunned by the black, some, not all, of the black community in Valdosta because they believed they they the narrative was it was an accident. And the city was divided at first, and I guess some of the black peoples got tired of them fighting, and they started to shun them and not support them, and it's still like that to this day. Yeah.
wow.
There was no, you know how it would be. Like all I can say is, Trayvon Martin, how we were upset with that in the protest and the Mike Brown, and all that situation, and then the George Floyd, the large activist community came together and was in outrage. It was never like that for Kendrick Johnson.
So is anybody helping the family of Kendrick Johnson right now? Is anybody, do they have anybody that's vocal and speaking out for him right now?
Well, not a whole organization or a whole lot of people, because a lot of people, they broke their trust and broke their heart. So they do have representative, but they're really discreet about it and really careful about who they
Yeah.
choose, because they don't want to get, the Bell start suing people and companies and magazines, for defamation of character and stuff like that.
Wow, they started suing magazines for this story hitting.
I do believe that's why Jet magazine no longer exists. They sued
Wow.
Ebony because Ebony magazine put out an article, and guess what? Ebony magazine didn't even name no one in it at all. But because the story fit the narrative, yeah, they sued them. It's a
Wow.
powerful, rich company. I mean, not company, sorry,
Wow.
family. The Bells are a powerful, rich family. Yeah.
Do you have that article from Ebony, Aaliyah?
I don't, because it's all been scrubbed from the internet. But I can find it for you. I just can't find it for you right now. I don't. But I can tell you that what he was
Yes.
arrested
Did,
for:
yeah, let's get into that.
criminal trespassing charge. That's it. And locked him up, didn't give him a bond, and basically harassed him and it was just criminal trespassing. Isn't that crazy? No, it was intentful.
Yeah.
They did it for a reason. They needed him to take it back. So he took it back, but he still came back years later and passed the polygraph test. So I still stand on that statement. But as far as the magazine article, I think I seen something on Scribd. Let me see. But on Scribd, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find it in my documents. Documents. I will have to go there. I didn't know about that. I don't think that you put that in my questions.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So I wasn't able, I probably would have pulled it, but I have something, but I don't think I have the article.
I
But
cannot
like,
believe this. This is my first time hearing about Ebony and Jet magazine. I'm so shocked. The scandals are real with
so you want,
Kendrick.
yes, it was. Yes, it was. When was Jet Magazine closed? It
Shay
was
G.
June the 23rd, 2014. That's when Jet Magazine permanently closed.
Okay.
And did the Bells sue Ebony? I'm asking. Hold on. So, the Bell family's defamation lawsuit against Ebony Magazine, who owns Jet Magazine, in connection with articles about the Kendrick Johnson case, was filed in August 2014. They sued Ebony crime writer Frederick Rosen, seeking $5 million for alleged libel and slander over a series of online articles that ran from 2013 to 2014, in which they say implied their sons were involved in Johnson's murder. And that's according to the Valdosta Daily Times.
Wow. And so they won that settlement.
Hmm.
Wow.
For
Wow.
libel and slander,
Wow.
even though they didn't mention their name. And in order for me to get this archived article, I have to pay the Valdosta Daily Times subscription. I'm not giving them anything because they put out false narratives
Yeah. I wouldn't dare.
about this case, though. I'm not
But I'm
giving
pretty
them.
sure if I dig
Hmm,
deeply, I'm gonna find it. You heard me? I'm gonna find it.
you'll
This is
find it.
sad.
You'll find it.
They said Tubi has a great documentary too. Sanji said, "Sounds like the
Absolutely.
Murdoch family of South Carolina deep cover up." Yes, they got away with a lot of stuff
Very.
due to money down in South Carolina. They really did. Um,
Yeah.
Leah, where do we go from here with it? What can we do as a community and
Talk about it.
activists? To help with this situation. Keep spreading awareness,
Yes.
because I really wanna keep his name alive and keep his name in the algorithm. Because like I was telling you earlier, they want to shut us up. They want Kendrick's story to die, and I don't want
Right.
to.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link to the petition that we have
Mhm.
for them to appoint a special prosecutor, somebody that has no connections to Georgia, period, to come in to review the case as a real investigation. And I put it in the back chat so that you can put it in the link because, only mods can post links in the comments. So it's in the back in our private chat.
Yes, I got it.
So if you guys can
I see it.
please,
Leah,
I can, I put in the private chat. You want me to
can
put it
you send it
where?
to me on Messenger too, Leah?
Yes. Let me find
Send
it.
it to me on Messenger. I'm gonna copy it and put it in the chat.
Okay. And there you go. I just put it in your messenger. So what you can do is that you can please sign the petition. Um, on my Facebook page, I post about the Congress members that you can call and the Attorney General, Chris Carr, that we can call, we can email, and we're just hammering them, hey, appoint a special prosecutor that has no connections to Georgia, period, not even ATL, you know, and that has no
Mhm.
bias in this case. They can't investigate themselves. And so that's what we're doing.
Right.
We're asking for talk about it, share the evidence on my page because I'm really bold. I'll put anything out there. I just don't care. But that's what happens when God tells you to do something. You just don't have no fear. A lot of people are afraid because of the presence and what these people are capable of doing, if that makes sense. But you just can't, in order to face the adversary, and I call him the devil, you can't have any fear. So just share the evidence, talk about him. You know what I mean? Pop up on my live when I'm talking about him or teaching about the case. Invite anybody back that wants to talk about Kendrick Johnson. Absolutely do not let his name die at all because that's what they want. I noticed today that there's this massive push from YouTube of old Kendrick Johnson videos popping up, the ones with the wrong narrative, to try to
Mm.
cover up the us, that want to tell the truth about it. They don't want the truth out there. Like I said, these people are rich.
Have you ever talked to Ryan Hernandez or ever reached out to Ryan?
I have not talked to him, reached out to Ryan Hernandez's wife. I'm in the process of writing him a letter. He is incarcerated right now. Because I want him to
Wow.
know that I believe you. We believe you. Hey, I found the weight, in the photos. The weight probably is gone too because they didn't realize they caught a portion of it in the photo. They tore the gym down.
Yeah.
Yep. So they probably got rid of it, but the photo corroborates and validates what he said in his sworn testimony.
Wow.
So I'm in the process of writing him. And I reached out to his wife, but his wife did not respond. A lot of people are scared.
Mm. And I believe it. I believe that people are scared. The power, people don't believe in the power that people possess. I'm gonna drop the link to the petition again if did nobody catch it. Um, let's sign this petition. And you said, are
Please.
y'all are taking it to Washington?
What the family's going to take, they're going to go to the extreme, and they'll go all the way to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court doesn't do something, they'll go. They won't stop, and I don't blame them. They're going to take it wherever that
Mhm.
it needs to done until justice for Kendrick Johnson is here, and they can finally start mourning their child. They can't mourn. They're in constant pain. because they've been turned away, lied to, lied on, penalized, all because they want the truth for their child. And I love them. I mean,
Let me ask
I
you
don't.
this, Leah. Was they threatened? Was they ever threatened and things like that by the Bells?
There's no way. Mm-mm. 'Cause this family, the Johnsons, from what I see, are very strong and very bold. No, they were not threatened. If they were threatened,
Okay.
they wouldn't be fighting, right? And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's how, they're very bold and their intent is I'm not stopping. So even if the Bells would have threatened them, they would have shook it off and kept going. That's what I get from the Johnsons.
They did say it's a documentary of Kendrick on Tubi, so you guys catch that. But like Leah said, be aware of the fake narratives. Leah is
Hmm.
on Facebook. Let me get her link because you guys can go over there and get a lot of the videos, the photos, and
Hmm.
stuff like that. So let me get her Facebook. So you guys want to look in more in depth and stuff. Like I said, I just out of respect, because Leah's got the coverage over there. Her Facebook page is definitely coverage of everything over there. And out of respect for her and the family, I just didn't want to bring it here.
Well,
But I'm
YouTube
gonna
won't
share your
really.
link.
Yeah, YouTube's gonna censor it if you show the stuff that I show on Facebook. They're gonna not
Okay.
monetize it. So I would not, show that type of stuff on Facebook. Sometimes I do anyway. I mean, on YouTube, and it just the monetization, the ad sense just doesn't, get activated on it. But Facebook pretty much just puts a disclaimer over it, and they allow you to post it. So it's over there. And unfortunately, let me give you a disclaimer that the pictures are gruesome. They are, and
They are.
brutal, hard to look at, very hard to look at.
Like when I was looking into his case, because I had said it before I found you, that I wanted to
Mhm,
open up some of the old cases that they want us
mhm,
to be quiet about, and
mhm.
shut up about it. And I came across Kendricks, and I was like, I want to talk about him. And I told one of my
Yeah,
homegirls, I want to talk about him. I think I'm going to talk about him. And
shoot.
boom. You know how you thinking about something and then you pop up out of
Mhm.
nowhere of my thinking because the phones are reading our minds. I'm beginning to think phones are
They
mind
do,
readers
they
at
do.
this point. Yeah. So I find you and I'm like, oh my God. I start going down and my body is just froze. Some of the pictures I couldn't
Mhm.
even just scroll past. I'm just looking at this in disbelief,
Yeah.
and all I'm seeing is accidental death.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Just
Right,
seeing everything shut down about him, and I keep going back to the pictures, going, "How is this possible?
right.
This is not possible."
Correct. You're
That
absolutely
that
right.
and this could be our this could be my son,
Mine too.
my
That's
granddaughter, somebody.
correct. And that's why it's so important that he gets justice. If not if, because he will get justice is coming. Because I'm making them mad. They're on my page talking crap, trying to steer the narrative. Things that I'm blocking people because I don't want to hear none of that, none of it. So the stuff I'm putting out there is catching their eyes. It's catching they're watching their own fake pages. They're in the comments, still trying to steer the narrative. So we are shaking up things. Please talk about him. Don't let the world forget him. Actually, let's talk about him so much so that the world knows about him. They suppressed the case so bad that I got people coming on my page like, oh my God, I've never heard of this. How? Well, because the media suppressed it. Only one that was talking about it is CNN. And then you have the Valdosta Times that are just pushing, pushing, pushing. No, it was an accident. It was an accident. You have the
Mm-hmm.
NAACP, NCAAP or whatever, refused to open up you know, an investigation. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Paid up. I'm sorry. Ben Crump.
Wow.
And this is how I feel. Some people can get paid to be quiet. And that's what's happened in this case in both communities. Black, white, doesn't matter. Money talks. You got to have somebody who is not really money hungry to keep fighting for this
Wow.
kid. Like I said, my videos are not, when YouTube sees Kendrick, and this is not you, but on mine, they won't push it, you know? So, and a lot of times they're
Um,
demonetized. I don't care. I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking, Leah. Nikki Ben said, OMG, this story I remember. She said, I have a page I'm running on Facebook. I started years ago, all about the details. That boy was murdered. Yes. And Nikki,
Yes, he
you keep
was.
going. Bring up your old stories. Bring them
Mhm.
back. You know what I'm saying?
And then
Relive them and follow Leah Ficklin. I dropped her Facebook page, I dropped her YouTube channel, and I dropped the petition in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Go follow her and bring that back, Nikki. So like
yes.
Leah said, it's people that hasn't heard the story. It's because this is what they do to our community of melanated
Mhm.
people. They want
Mhm.
us to forget. That's why you're going,
Yeah.
oh, I remember this story. A lot of people never heard of
And
this
let
story. She said it was disgusting. Jennifer Lewis documentary was well
yes.
done. It
Mhm.
was. You like that one? Let me write that name down.
It's
And
called
y'all can write some of
Finding
these names down.
documentary is called
Go ahead.
Finding Kendrick Johnson. That is the one that is on Tubi. That is the one that
Yeah.
Jennifer Lewis produced. Finding Kendrick Johnson. Yep, and that's the one that she did. It was amazing. But again, a lot of the things that she had on there are also censored. You know, when you have that type of status, you really can't say what you really want to say, but you can hint to
Mm-hmm.
it. But I'll tell you what, when
Mm-hmm.
you go to my page, please throw everything that you heard out. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm a truth teller. And if I see something, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to give you this before I leave. So I happened to get the coroner's report from Bill Watson a couple of days ago. Two coroner's reports. One signed by Bill Watson, one not signed. They want the public to believe that they discovered Kendrick Johnson dead on January the 11th, 2013, during that fiasco of a body discovery. Do you know on Bill Watson's coroner report, he has January 10th, the day before,
Wow.
the day he went missing?
Wow.
You forgot to change that date, or either he was telling the truth and I know this is what happened. They threatened him, they forced him to be a part of this, and he left clues. It's several sections where he says the EMT was there on January the 10th. He was there on January the 10th. He released the body to the Owens transport on January the 10th. And that's the one he signed. Then there's the other one that didn't sign that has a date of January 11th at the top. But why would your report have any hint of January the 10th if you didn't know
Mm.
that he was dead until January the 11th? See, it's stuff like that
Wow.
that I discover. I'm like, okay, you were there. They forced you to change it, and you forgot to either update all the dates on your original report, or you said they're not gonna make me what to do. Let me just, tell me what to do. Let me just leave some hints in there that I actually was there on January 10th, and then on January 11th.
Yella. Go ahead. Go ahead, Leah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. And then on January 11th, when um they allegedly just told everybody else, and had this huge discovery of the body. They didn't call the coroner, Bill Watson, until 6 hours later. You know why? Because he's supposed to be called immediately, but he was already there the day before. That's why I said what I said. That's it.
Mm.
He was supposed, by law, you're supposed to call the coroner immediately upon, discovery of a deceased body. They didn't call him for 6 hours. He was there the day before. That's why I said what I said. This is me, okay?
LaQuay said.
My opinion.
LaQuay said she wrote Ralph today. She said,
Ralph,
Miss Leah, I wrote Ralph.
Ralph today. Ralph. Who's Ryan? Ralph? Who is Ralph?
Who's Ralph LaQuay? Hey, Lashina,
Oh,
what's going on?
are you talking about the Senator Raphael Warnock?
She just said, I know that was for you. She said, I wrote Ralph today, Miss Leah.
She
Hey,
might be talking
Stallion.
about Senator Raphael Warnock, because that's the
Okay.
only. Yes, he also said the scene was compromised. He also said that it was contaminated. He was mad. He did not want
Mm.
to be a part of this. Do you know that he's the one
Oh,
that
the
told
corner
the
didn't want to be a part of it.
he did. Do you,
Okay.
let me This is not a theory. I believe Coroner Bill Watson was leaving hints because he's the one that wrote the letter to the judge and told the judge that, wait a minute, no, they said that they are the ones that destroyed the organs. He's the one that came out and said the crime scene was contaminated. It was also compromised. And he's the one that
Did he
has two.
retract it?
He didn't
Did he
actually
retract
retract
what
it.
he said?
He didn't retract it. What he did was they threatened him and all that. He called CNN or emailed CNN, and there's a news story. I think I have it on my screen. All he said was, "Just don't air the interview. Don't air the interview." That's it. He didn't retract nothing. He said, "Don't air the interview." But just think about it. In this report, he has January the 10th conflicting statements. He also said that they suppressed and withheld evidence from him, law enforcement and investigators on the scene on his report. He also has dates of January the 10th mixed with dates of January the 11th. And all of that to me is on purpose.
LaQuay
And
said, "I feel like whoever took the crime scene photos was a part of the cover up, and someone who took the photos wasn't with the BS and took the crime photos showing things before the cover up. So was somebody showing things before the cover up, Leah?
well, I did see I found the weight with the blood on it. I found it. They're in the photos. So I don't think
Mm,
everybody knew. So I don't think that the right. I believe what you're saying because there's two cameras obviously in these crime scene photos. You can tell different resolutions. Yep.
mm,
I believe, and I know for a fact because a lot of people at the school they resigned. People, paramedics got fired. The Bill Watson, the coroner, got forced out. You know, yeah, it's a lot of people that I believe that didn't want to do this, but they've been
mm,
silenced. And I believe, and
yeah,
like I said, that the coroner was leaving hints because he's the
yeah.
coroner. How does he mix up dates? You don't mix up dates more than once. No,
No.
let's be honest. He wrote down January 10th on his
Thank you,
note
Sanji.
because that was the day he was there. He was there both days, but
Sanji said, "I believe they were bought off. With everything coming out today, we see that almost no one is who they portray themselves to be. Deep corruption."
you know what else is fishy? And I have not dropped this yet because I'm still looking for the report that the paramedics report says cardiac arrest. The paramedics said they were called to, on the report says they were called to the school on January 11th on a cardiac arrest, but they wasn't. The phone call says code blue, code blue. So when they were asked why does it say cardiac arrest, they didn't have an answer for it. But I have an answer for it. I have a theory for it because Dr. Watson said that 911, the EMTs were on the scene January the 10th. Maybe that's when the cardiac arrest happened. Maybe. And you forgot to
Mm,
update the reason. You just updated the date. The cover up goes
wow.
deep. These little clues are what I found. If you was not there on the 10th, like his report says, under cardiac arrest, because that's the date that Kendrick passed away, then why would it say cardiac arrest? Y'all knew he was deceased when he fell out the body, allegedly fell
Yeah.
out the body bag. So why would you call for cardiac arrest on that day? So in my opinion,
Shay G said, but seven. She said 7 judges recused themselves from this case.
right, because they're all
Wow.
friends and family. Yep, all friends and family. They recuse themselves.
Wow.
It's a
She
lot of
said a
people
lot
that
of
know.
people. Lashina said she said it was a lot of people not speaking up because they were paid off.
Some were paid off and some were threatened, jailed, put in jail, stuff like that. Yep, you're right. I
Wow.
agree. Allegedly, guys, because I'm on her platform and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, go ahead, Leah. I want you to speak your mind, and you know what I'm saying. Because we need to be made aware of this because we need to be educated. Um, this is not going to be the last time this happens to one of our melanated children. And if they
right,
did this to Kendrick Johnson, my God,
right. And if we allow this, they're going to keep doing it. I believe that the the justice for Kendrick would change a lot. these people will know that, okay, we got these deep pockets and we have these alliances, but the Kendrick Johnson thing broke through. They got justice. Let us think twice about this from now on. It's very important. I'm just gonna say that I just believe with everything in me that justice for Kendrick Johnson is coming.
Yeah,
It's
I
coming,
do. I
and
do.
it's a
And it
lot more.
does. Like they said, it takes a village. And I'm gonna keep running his story, you know what I'm saying? And stuff. If you have a documentary that's good that you would like me to run over here with factual information, and I get that the lady on Tubi was probably censored and things like that. But
But it
at
was
least
very
she put it out
good.
there.
No, don't. I
Okay.
don't discount that. No, absolutely. But the
Okay.
thing is, with that one, you can't stream it. They have made this video to a, a, a way that if even if you try to screen print it, it's just black. You can get the audio, but you can't really get it.
Wow.
Get the visual. They made it that
I
way.
wonder if I can play it on Twitch. I wonder if I can play it over on Twitch. They're not
You
strict
probably
about
can.
movies over there.
Yep. You can probably either that or what's the other one? Kick. Yep. It's
Yep,
another
Kick or
platform.
Twitch. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Kick. I need to get over there too. She said, Boss Lady said, they know what they did to him. He will get justice.
Yes,
Yes. And
ma'am.
it's sad because,
Yes, ma'am.
and
And
it
it's
makes you kind of say, to murder, we're talking about red rum, Leah.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yes.
about red rum. How many
Absolutely.
times have these boys did this?
Listen, how many times have their dad done it? The FBI agent that they made
Hmm.
retire because they raided the property. They had the evidence. The judge signed off on it, but then told the Johnsons allegedly, okay, that we can't fire him. That's in the documentary, actually. We have to make him retire. So they made him retire. He's retired now. But the
Wow.
FBI knows. I don't know why. All I know, it's going to get uncovered. It's going to get uncovered. But yes, watch the documentary. Everything that I said lines up with the documentary. There is a Mitch Creedle, I believe, that was on the documentary. He's just going to come out and tell the truth. It was red rum, just like you said. Everybody knows it except the ones that are naive and not looking for it. So,
Who was the president at the time of Kendrick's
Ob-
unaliving?
Obama, President
Wow.
Obama. Yeah, he didn't do anything.
This is kind of gut wrenching. I ain't gonna lie to you.
It's sad. And imagine
I
having to
be,
look at these autopsy, the crime scene photos where you can see him just his body. But I don't post everything. I can't. I mean, but his mom also follow her. It's Jackie KJ Johnson on Facebook. Follow her as well. Now she also will post those pictures as well because she's like what is it, Mimi Till? She just like her. She wants the world to see what they did to Kendrick Johnson. So
yeah, she's
today she
pretty
posted
active
a
on there.
yep, she posted a photo that I haven't posted. And it's the one where they basically butchered his baby. Butchered him. He had no
Hmm.
reason to cut him up like that. So but she was trying to get the organs out fast, allegedly.
Wow.
Dispose of them, allegedly. Yep.
They said disposed, but do you think she harvested the organs?
No, you can't actually harvest dead organs. You have to be alive to take those organs and put it, into someone else. Dead organs, they don't come back once you know what I mean? They're dead. So, and they were there. I seen them, all of them.
They said if they had to make him retire early, clearly something was wrong. I
It
hate
was.
the way they get to hide stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, they did. He's no longer an agent, but he was powerful enough to get an agreement to retire. That he had to do something for a judge to sign off on a warrant, on a federal warrant. That they just don't sign off on federal warrants without evidence. That right
Right.
there
Right.
tells you.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Right.
not. Thank you, Miss Evelyn. Amanda said no shoes.
It was shoes on the scene. It
Okay.
was actually three pairs of
Okay.
shoes on the scene. The ones that he came in the gym with, the red, gray, and orange Nikes, were positioned behind his knees in the mat. They wasn't on his feet. They was behind his knees. Somebody tucked them neatly behind his knees. And then there was a pair that they want us to believe that he was reaching for. One of the black Adidas was feet and feet away from the mat that he was found in, and one of them was beneath his head with no blood on it. It was just sitting on
Wow.
top of blood. It was clean. It was sitting on top of the pool of blood. There was no blood on it. But you want us to believe he was upside down, vertical in this mat, blood pooling out. The shoe would have had blood out on it. Well, he was
Mm-hmm.
never in that position though. You can just look at the mat. Guys, go to my page, look at I think I posted it. It's called
Yeah, it's on
the
there.
debunk, the debunction of the mat or whatever, debunking of the mats. You'll see that
Yeah.
only half of that mat it's a half moon of blood on that mat, meaning that he was horizontal, just like they found him. They just covered the body up. He was never upside down.
She said Miss Boss Lady said the basketball team did it in the school covered. They covered it up for the basketball team.
It's possible. They were in the gym. I posted a video. You can see when he runs into the gym, there's kids in the gym. You can see the body
Yeah.
language of of people playing basketball. Kendrick's in the corner. You can see it's so blurry, but you can see his white shirt. Then I see two people come from the different door, which I believe that is Brian Bell and Brandon Bell. And then you'll see that the kids or stop playing basketball, look towards the mat,
Mm-hmm.
all of them in sequence, start to walk towards the mat and abruptly turn back around because the footage was tampered with. I'm like, it looked
Yeah,
like they just go backwards. They just went
it
backwards.
did.
That's on my page. Yep,
Yeah,
I
and
had to
she's got
scroll
a lot
down.
of videos. You guys, I dropped Miss Jackie Johnson's link. I dropped Miss Leah's link. I dropped the petition that we all need to sign. Please sign that petition, you guys,
Yeah,
for Kendrick Johnson. He deserves justice, and his story deserves to be heard by everybody. I want to get this in the algorithm, so I hope you guys hit that like button for me just to push it in the algorithm. It's not for me; it's to get Kendrick's story out there. They
amen.
said, "How do you crawl inside a mat that is upright?" He had scrapes and blood on his knuckles, so he was definitely in a fight. Did he
Yeah,
have
he
that
was in
on
a
his
fight.
knuckles?
Yes,
Hmm.
they beat him. They stomped him. They not tased him. Let me get it right. Stun gun. They stunned him with a stun gun. Yes, they beat him.
Wow.
Yes, they beat him. His face was disfigured. He has a
Wow.
big gash on the right side of his jaw.
Yeah,
His
I seen
neck.
that.
I haven't showed the neck without him being brutally cut open. It's all bruised. It's black. He didn't even look like himself. He looked immediate like Emmett Till because they baked this baby to speed up decomposition. Yep.
It makes me want to ask, was an adult present to witness that they did this?
I
Like,
don't.
you know what I'm saying?
It's
I just
possible,
can't see these kids being all these kids in the gym during class hours.
but he's a high
During
school.
class hours.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about when they discovered the body
All
when he
of
was
it.
okay.
Because you said that the young man said they went to the old gym when they
Right.
had the new gym, and just
There was
all
a
of a
teacher.
sudden, who directed them to go to the old gym
His
and
name
not
is
use the new gym for today?
Coach Peepow. Peipow. He's the one that was talking. He was the only adult teacher in there. So he's the one. Yep, that did it. He also was very good friends with the Bells. Yep.
Mm.
So that was the only time I believe that a teacher was present. But of course, adults were involved after they unalived them. You know, if you read you can go pull the affidavit off my page and just read that to your audience. You will see everything that Brandon Bell, the older brother of Brian Bell, who was also in the gym, told Ryan Domek Hernandez that immediately after Brian Bell, the younger brother, hit Kendrick with the 45-pound weight, they called their father. The father called another FBI agent who was skilled in deleting footage. They called the sheriff, their best, their friends. Everybody was involved, allegedly.
Yeah, because they
This,
can get that immediately.
yeah, if you go to my page and just get the affidavit and show your audience without showing any of the gruesome photos, that's pretty helpful to read to them. It tells the
Yeah,
whole
I'll get
story
that.
of what happened to the in the gym. The sworn affidavit is
Yeah,
out there. That's safe for you to show.
yeah, because you know how they be about us, honey.
Exactly.
I've seen the most on her, but when it comes to us, they definitely yeah. But I'll get
Mhm.
that too, you know what I'm saying? Did you get a copy of the second autopsy or the third autopsy or just the which autopsy did you get a copy of, Leah?
I have all of them, all three. So what it was,
Okay.
the third autopsy is basically the second autopsy with added verbiage. Yep. And
Okay.
the photos, out of the photos of the third autopsy, I don't post because he was very decomposed. And yeah, I can't even stomach looking at the third one, to be
Oh
honest
my
with
goodness. My God.
you. I've looked at the paperwork, but the photos to go with it, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the photos alone on your page, I was just stuck. I kept
And
going back to
that's
the photos and to the stories, the photos, and I just couldn't believe how they said it was a lie. And
yeah.
yeah, they did, Lashina. We talked about that early on and stuff, and why the people in the school investigations are teachers though. Did the teachers get investigated too?
Nobody got investigated because they ruled it an accident within
Hmm.
15 minutes. That's what I heard. Where they went
Wow.
to when the Johnsons was at, Mrs. Johnson, because Mr. Johnson was a truck driver and he was on the road. So it was Mrs. Johnson at the school and her daughter, Kenyatta. Yeah, Kenyatta. Within 15 minutes, they came in and said, we don't found no foul play. The narrative was already
How do you do
pre-planned
that in 15 minutes? It's not possible. It's not
because
possible.
I said they was there January the 10th.
Mm.
It was there.
Ooh.
And
It's
if you
school. It school seems pretty demonic to me. It doesn't even seem like it's.
oh, there's rituals,
Yeah.
and that's I found that they do or perform rituals and stuff like that in that city and
Mm.
county. Do you know that that is the same county that yeah, you guys ever heard of Mary Turner? Back in 19, I think 18. Please do not hold me to that. Hold on. I can find it. Hold on. This is where she was lynched. Hold on. Mary Turner was a black woman from near Valdosta, Georgia, who became one of the most horrific and infamous victims of racial terror violence in American history. She was murdered on May 19, 1918, by a white mob in Lowndes County after publicly condemning the lynching of her husband the day before. Mary Turner was 8 months pregnant when she protested the lynching of her husband, Hayes Turner, who had been murdered by a mob in retaliation for the killing of a white planter. So on May 19th, 1918, a white mob, it's the KKK, call it what it is, Chat GPT, hung her upside down, burned her, cut her unborn child out of her stomach, then shot her repeatedly. Her baby's life was brutally also ended during the attack. They stomped the baby. That's what they did. They stomped him. And no members of the mob were ever prosecuted. This is the same Valdosta, Georgia. Crazy work. So if they'll do that, I heard it's the same. That's all I have to say. Even though it's predominantly black, I heard it's the same.
I'm gonna look that story up. I'm gonna go over there and get the Alpha David off your thing.
Hmm.
And you know what's crazy? Miss Boss Lady said 2026 everyone will be exposed. And they somebody did, you know, I was reading something in the celebrity world. They said it's the like 2026 is the year of exposure in the dark industry, the people that's doing this type of thing. Hey Royalty, what's going on, baby? Drop your link, Royalty. Make sure y'all
Hmm.
go follow Royalty. She also has a Twitch and she's a gamer, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
they was talking about, because I forgot what just happened. I gotta find it, and it was interesting because something like this happened,
Mm-hmm.
and they was like, this year they will be exposed in the industry. A lot of stuff is going
I
to be
believe
exposed, the
that.
power, the higher ups, and the power of these people and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
hey Keitra, welcome, thank you. So I want to definitely Leah, with updates and stuff like that, please stay in touch with me, and I want to bring you
Yeah,
back in the future for
absolutely.
updates and stuff. And y'all make sure y'all sign that petition. I'll drop it one more time before we get out of here. Leah, keep up the great work over there with the coverage. Like, you're better than the news. I will say that. You're better
Oh,
than the news when it comes to this coverage with these children, especially Kendrick. Like I said, his story deserves to be told. And it's sad that
absolutely.
they shut people up to not put this out there, what happened to him. He didn't
Right,
deserve that. No
right.
child does, but he did not deserve that.
Yeah, yeah. And if you
I
guys
just
don't
dropped
like
the
to
petition again. Go ahead, Leah.
Thank you, thank you. If you guys don't like to read my long narrated stories, I do have YouTube where I actually do videos and I actually go live and we discuss it and I tell the stories and show the paperwork. If you're more interested in not reading the documentation by yourself, but actually having interaction with people or see a video of it. Some people don't want to read every bit of my long little analysis.
I'm about to drop your link again, Auntie Leah. 1 second. Well,
Oh no,
just in case did nobody get it. You guys make sure y'all sign that petition. Let's sign, sign, sign. Um, we
yes,
want
please.
justice for all the children, but Kendrick definitely deserves answers, and I hate the cover up.
I believe that Kendrick is going to
This
bust
could
the
be our
door wide open. I believe justice for Kendrick is going to really open up the doors for a lot of justice for injustice for
it
children
is.
or period
It
for
is.
anybody. Hmm.
And we need this because we really need Kendrick's story to bust wide open to show the corruption of
Correct.
the judicial system, because that's
Yes.
all it's being, is corruption.
Right.
To these kids, to make the kids be quiet, these kids will forever have Kendrick on their conscience. Trust me, guys.
Yes.
Those girls, none of this. She said, I signed, shared on my IG and TikTok. I also
Thank you so
contributed.
much.
Thank you, Sanji. Thank you,
Praise the
Sanji.
Lord. Thank you,
You take
Jesus.
this, sisters. Thank you, Sanji. Yeah,
Thank
she's
you.
awesome. Sanji's awesome. But that's why Brian's going crazy. That's why
Oh,
Brandon is going crazy and telling
oh
it. They
yeah.
can't help but tell it.
Yeah.
It's on their
Exactly.
conscience forever. And
Yeah.
again, it almost makes you go down the line of how many lives did their father take.
Mm,
Being that he's FBI and things like that. Thank you, Miss Beak. They
right.
signed and shared it. Thank you.
Thank
They
you.
just
Thank you.
signed
Thank you so much,
following you,
guys.
Miss Leah.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys. I really do. So yeah, it's very important to just keep spreading the word. So please start talking about Kendrick. Yes, you can take anything off my page and put your narrative on it and talk about it. I do not have a problem with any of it because I want his story to spread like wildfire.
Yeah,
This
I
time.
just thought I knew that YouTube would strike me if I bought those pictures over here and stuff, and
Mm,
seeing him like that just tears me up.
well,
It's too
yeah,
sad to even
you
look
don't.
at him.
You can blur the pictures. Now they don't strike me. They don't strike me, but they will hinder, or what do you call it, your ads sense. It'll be limited.
Yes, yes,
So
they
yeah,
definitely will. They definitely will.
you're
She
right.
said it's been nothing but lies from the whole school, and they
Hmm.
will go down. Thank you, guys, for signing. Thank you, Valerie. The girls have signed the petition and stuff like that. Thank you guys for signing that petition.
I appreciate you
For
guys. Yes, I do.
Kendrick Johnson's family and Miss Leah. Miss Leah, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much again. I cannot
You're
wait
welcome.
to do
Thank
another
you.
one with you. You know what I'm saying? I'll be following you anyway on Facebook.
Hmm.
I stay tuned in to you and the information you drop and stuff like that. It's still many more questions. Trust me,
Okay.
it is questions all down through there on Miss Leah's
Anytime.
page that we have to ask. Thank you, Time Warp. Hey, Quiwana. Wait till you see the documentary. I shed tears. Thank you, Shay G, for even bringing that
Same.
in here. I appreciate you. Thank you. Diamond said she signed the petition. Queen Butterfly signed. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. I know it means everything to Miss Jackie and her family and Miss Leah
Yes,
for all the hard work and dedication she's putting in to help this family get the justice that they need. Thank you, Miss Leah, again.
you're
It's
welcome.
been
Thank
great. I
you.
will keep in touch with you. I will keep in touch with
Okay,
you because it's a lot of stuff I think me and you can uncover together. It's other
let's
stories
do
that
it.
I would like to have you on the panel and talk about with me.
Okay,
Because I'm gonna
let's
be
do it.
opening a lot of cold case files and the files that they want to sweep under the rug. I'm
Hmm.
talking about it.
What I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
I'm
it's
gonna
in
talk about it.
the details is in the paperwork. Get the paperwork. You'll
All
see
right.
it. Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you for having me. And you gotta be blessed. Bye.
Thank you for coming.
You are
Thank you for
welcome.
coming.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. Bye, Miss Leah. You guys, thank you so much for pulling up in the chat and stuff. Thank you guys for signing the petition. That means more to me than anything. That's all I wanted to do. Thank you, Desi. Thank you. I just wanted to get Kendrick's story out there. I want to keep sharing it because it deserves to be shared again. They're trying to sweep this young man's case under the rug. It's already been too much corruption, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick and sick and sick and tired of when it comes to our melanated children, the corruption they put into it to stop us from having a voice, to stop us from speaking out, and so much more. And I'm going to continue to share his story. I'm going to continue to share his pictures. I am going to eat their consciences up because that's what I want to do. Hey, Pebbles, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, guys. Go share, go follow Miss Jackie, you guys, on Facebook. It definitely makes you think about your children. Um, and seeing how strong she's going, I hope God continues to give me the strength to keep bringing these stories about these children and things that they're hiding and covering up like that. Tomorrow, man, follow me. I was gonna do Kim, but I think I want to do Kim on Friday. I want to be wind down on Friday and do Kim's book. But tomorrow, we're doing them Epstein files. The shit I have seen. Let me calm it down. I'm sorry. This is about Kendrick. I'm sorry. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I am disgusted. Jamie Foxx, I am disgusted. I must say, I didn't think. Oh, Desi, you're welcome. Thank you, Miss Boss Lady. Yes, it's soul disturbing. And I said soul, okay? I cannot believe my melanated people. I'm I was reading it, I said, I called time up. I said, did I just read this about Jamie Foxx? Reading, thank you, Erica. Reading the Epstein files, I'm telling you, y'all have a whole different outlook on everybody. Everybody. Okay? But I will be getting into that tomorrow. Prayers to Kendrick Johnson's family. It's disgusting. Desi, I'm so disgusted. I'm so disturbed. God, like, oh my God, just thanking God that I made it. You know what I'm saying? After reading, like, God, that my daughters made it and stuff. She said it's for sure an eye opener. Absolutely. But we'll get into that tomorrow. And then we're going to be reading snippets out of Kim Porter's book on Friday and stuff like that. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Please enjoy y'all Thursday. Stay safe out there. The roads are still kind of bad for some and stuff like that. Stay warm and enjoy y'all Thursday. I will see you guys tomorrow at 2. I appreciate each and every one of you guys that signed that. I know Miss Jackie will be so happy that we did this tonight. And shout out again, Miss Lee, okay? Everybody. Miss Parker, the YouTube star, lighting up the screen, you know who you are. Bringing news you can use and a laugh or two. She's got the facts, the fun, and the realest view. With a voice so smooth and a smile so bright. She's shining like a beacon in the darkest night. Deep dives on the stories that really matter. She's breaking it down, cutting through the chatter. Pop and stay a while, you'll feel right at home. She's got a little something for everyone. With a heart so big and an attitude strong. Miss Parker's where you
the news to amuse and the truth to reveal. Digging for the answers, keeping it real. For those who need a champion, she's standing tall. Fighting for justice, she's giving her all. With every upload, she's making a change. Bringing people together, no matter the range. So hit that subscribe, don't miss a beat. Miss Parker's got the content that can't be beat. Questions we all have, she's not afraid to ask. Uncovering the story, she's up to the task. With a laugh, a wink, and a spirit so true, Miss Parker's got the magic and she's sharing it with you. Pop in, stay a while, you'll feel right at home. She's got a little something for everyone. With a heart so big and an act too strong. Miss Parker's where you know you belong. She's an advocate, a friend, a voice for the unheard. Asking all the questions, never missing a word. Or a second to none. She's blazing like the sun. Miss Parker, the only one. So here's to Miss Parker, the star of the show, bringing light to the world everywhere she goes. Tune in, stay tuned, you'll never be the same. Miss Parker, remember the name. Miss Parker, remember the name. So here's to Miss Parker, the star of the show, bringing light to the